Hello and welcome. I'm Bio, and today I'm talking about another video game that I've recently finished. I actually finished it today, so I'm talking about it today. And that game is 7 Samurai 20XX. Now, in a previous video, I looked at 7 Blades, and I enjoyed playing some of the old PlayStation 2 games, so I thought I'd continue on with a recommendation I got from Terry309, and that is 7 Samurai 20XX. And whoa boy, I've got a few things to say about this game. Yeah. Positive, but also negative. I try to be fair across the board, but I try to be fair. At the end of the day, I played through the game. I played through all 10 chapters. Bit frustrating at times, but overall, pretty decent experience. But I'm going to go over all of that. First of all, I'll first say that I won't be talking about the story at all in this video. I don't like talking about the story in any video game. If you are interested in the story, play the game yourself, or go watch a 7 Samurai 20XX movie on YouTube. What I mean by that is all the cutscenes together. The OST you hear in the background is the OST from 7 Samurai 20XX, which is pretty decent for the most part. And I'll go into that as well. So, yeah, like I said, parentheses, I'm not going to talk about the story. All I'll say in regards to the story is that it's okay. I don't think it's as intricate and interesting as Seven Blade's story, but it's a pretty decent story. It's very light-hearted. There's a lot of wacky humor in there. The characters are fairly likable. The main character is great. He's really good. His reactions to things, facial expressions, really good. He is he's not a typical I'm gonna be the hero kind of guy. He is the kind of, he at first is like, yeah, I'm not gonna be a hero. I'm not gonna be this dude that's gonna help these people. I don't care about these people. Why are you asking me? Go away, kind of attitude. But he in the end, he kind of like moseys on over to them, and but that attitude kind of persists. He does things for his friends and looks out for his friends, but at the same time, he doesn't take no nonsense. He's not a what are you trying to push over is what I should say. He's not a pushover in that sense, which I don't like with main characters with a lot of games, when they're just pushovers, when they're like, that person betrayed me, oh my god, I didn't even see it coming. Oh my god, I thought you were one of the good guys. I mean, you know what I mean. It's like when I say that about main characters in video games, you know what I mean. Nato is not like that. Nato, he's a cool main character. I like him. He's good. But he has problems, mainly in terms of combat. But we'll get to that. Like I said with the music, we've got it playing in the background. Music is pretty decent overall. There's some good tracks, but unfortunately, I don't feel like the game doesn't utilize the soundtrack very much. The song you just heard was Neon Barrier, which is the main track you're going to be hearing most of the time, because it's the track that mainly plays when you're fighting enemies. So you'll get sick of that track very quickly. At least from my experience, I got sick of that track very quickly, because there isn't that much variation in it. And like I said, yeah, you get there is quite a lot of songs in the OST. There is, according to this YouTube playlist, 32. But the problem is, most of them generally play during cutscenes, or they appear once and then you don't hear them again. So, which is not great. I just wish there was more battle themes. I think that's what it is, really. I just really wish there was more battle themes. And now we're going to go into the gameplay. I know I haven't said, whoa, you haven't said who the developer or the publisher is. Information's available online. Okay, fine. It's Dimps. Dimps made this. Dimps made this game. Dimps, the same people that made the Dragon Ball Budokai games. Dragon Ball Z Budokai games. Dimps, the same people that make the current Dragon Ball Xenoverse games. Dimps, I don't know, the people that made Sonic Rush on the DS. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? So yeah, so they've been around. They make some decent 3D fighting games. Not too many beat-em-ups from what I can understand, but released back then. It's published by Sammy Studios, and it was released in March 12, 2004, at least in the West. And like I said, The combat is an interesting one, and we will go into the combat now. I have a love-hate relationship with the combat in this game. Love the Ito-Ryo mode. Ito-Ryo mode, fantastic. What I don't love is your standard mode of combat. Your standard mode of combat is Nato using one katana, one sword, and it is shit. I'm sorry, it is dog shit. Nato looks like he's trying to swat fucking flies when he's using it. He's like, there's mosquitoes, they're getting me. He literally looks like that. He doesn't look like he's really trying to even fight the enemies when he's like that. On the other hand, when he goes into Ito-Ryo mode, he is, and it's flashy, it's all, you're darting all over the place, it's fast-paced, it's fucking brilliant, and it's lovely. So my question is, when it comes to the combat, is why? Why did you even include that mode? Why isn't Ito-Ryo mode the default combat mode? The game's easy. It's not a difficult game, right? I died quite often, but when you die, you literally you don't get put back at the beginning of the chapter. You don't even get put back at the beginning. There's no stages, but you don't get put back very far. You get basically plopped right into the battle you died in. So death doesn't really mean much in this game, which is good. I don't like it when they take a load of progress from you. How am I supposed to learn how to beat something? I say I'm going up against a boss, right? And I'm trying to master the boss's, like, attack patterns. If I die 10 times, why do I have to go through another, like, there's 2 sets of enemies, let's say, before fighting the boss again? That's a waste of time, my time, fighting those 2 sets of enemies again. Whereas, put me right back into the boss battle again. Boss has got full health, I've got full health, or whatever. Boom. Let's get on with it. Let's go. So I like it when a game does that. So the game's not that difficult. I would say the only time I really had problems, I died a lot. You'll see from the gameplay, I have max health, max guard meter, and that comes from the fact that I died a lot. I died a hell of a lot. Mainly because I got sick and tired. I'd get very close to, like, a certain thing, and I'd be like, oh, I've got really low health, and I'll just let myself die just to reset my health. So, I'm not even joking. It's a strategy. So, and if you die, the game becomes easier. And that's what makes it interesting. The game becomes a hell of a lot easier. Because if you do well in the game, it takes stuff away from you. It will lower your health. It will lower your guard meter. It will lower things for you. But if you play poorly, it will put your health up, it will put your guard up, it will put everything up for you. So in the end, I just ended up cheesing and just letting myself die numerous times, purposely in a way, just to let myself boost to the max health and everything. Because I was like, why wouldn't I want that? Why would I not want that? Why would I not want to make the game easier for myself? If you're gonna let me do it, I'm gonna do it. Which is another thing. You can cheese combat in this game. For the most part. Enemies that have projectiles are fucking annoying because you don't have any control of the camera. By the way, the right analog stick, no, you want to know what that right analog stick does? Fucking nothing. Does nothing. It literally does not even... What's the point of it even being on the controller? How I held the controller throughout the entire game was literally holding it normally with the left hand. With the right hand, I literally just had 3 fucking fingers on the controller on the face buttons. On square, triangle, and X. That's all I did. So I would just keep using my middle finger, tapping the square button repeatedly, with the odd using the guard with the triangle, and using my index finger on the X to dodge out the way. What a weird way to hold a controller, but it was the best way for me to do it. And then when I needed to go into Ito-Ryo mode, I moved away from the enemy, went into them, went back into it. If I had to, but if I could do it inside the enemy, great. But that's basically how I generally cheese the combat. I was like, oh look, I'm fighting him in Ito-Ryo mode. Then suddenly I know where Ito-Ryo mode stops because there's a timer on it. And then I ran away from the enemy, just keep moving away from him and dodging them until my Ito-Ryo meter went back up to full again, and here we go, let's fight again. Which, again, makes me... I know I'm saying again a lot, but why is there even a standard mode of combat? Why isn't Ito-Ryo mode the just normal way to fight? And that's what really confuses me. That should be the normal way to fight. And it's quite funny, because if you have max everything, bosses become mostly trivial, because the guard meter goes down when you try to parry, when you guard and try to parry attacks. But you could literally go into Iterio mode, repeatedly press square as much as you can against the enemy, and just rapidly press triangle for the most part. And you could just bum rush bosses that way, because then what would happen is you would repeatedly press triangle, you would deflect their attack, they would go into a staggered mode for, I don't know, a couple of seconds, allowing you to recharge your guard back up, rinse and repeat. Boom. Bosses were the easiest thing for the most part in this game, with one exception. In the final chapter, there's the final boss is annoying, but he's not as annoying as fighting the red-haired dude. You're gonna not know what I'm talking about, so it doesn't matter. The red-haired dude at level 3. I'm just gonna put it that way. You know, red-haired dude 3.0. Fighting him is a pain in the ass, and I died quite a lot against him, even with me pretty much having max health at that point, because you can't guard against a lot of his attacks, which is just annoying. So yeah, the game is easy. I couldn't tell you how long it actually took me to get through the game, to be honest with you. I'd have to count up each of the chapters times. I would say, I don't know. It took me 10 to 15 hours, I would say, thereabouts. So, you know, it's not too long of a game at the end of the day. And, I'm trying to think what else is there to really say. Like, the green bar is your health, the blue bar is your guard. I've said that. You can parry, the parry is actually decent. You can dodge, the dodge is decent. The only problem is that you don't have a lock-on in this game. And I get it, you don't really need it, but you'll get some cheap shots, basically. Enemies will get cheap shots on you simply because the enemy's off-screen. And there's a lot of enemies, the wolves, the fucking dudes in blue armor, where they'll jump away from you, right? And you could be facing a completely different direction, and then they'll attack you by basically jumping and tackling you. But not jumping. The wolf one is the most annoying in my opinion. The wolf ones are annoying because I always found that they always used to get a hit on me if they were going to hit me, and if I got out of the way, fine. But if most of the time they did hit me, so if they were going to hit me and I was in their way, because they would always hit me off screen, and you would see from the footage alone a few times when I do actually lose health, which, you know, is quite a bit. I think the footage I recorded is in survival mode, and it's just a prologue in chapter 1. Skipped all the cutscenes, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. You know, I lost almost half my health, and pretty much all of that was cheap shots, pretty much, with the odd occasion where I lost some health because I didn't press the guard button at the right time. I'm not perfect. So, you know, it's an easy game. It's an easy game. If you want it to be easy, I've given you the way to make it easy. Would I say it's a game worth playing? Chapter 9 is horrible. It is fucking abysmal, simply because they just throw enemies at you for the sake of it, and they're not easy. They're not the robots you see me fighting in the footage with the like lance looking weapon. They're all the like high level, take along quite a few hits enemies to take down. And you'll have like a bunch of these enemies. Let's say there's about 8 of them. You'll have 8 of these enemies, and you'll be fighting these purple dudes. I fucking hate the purple dudes. They're horrible. They're so tanky, and they attack you often. You'll be fighting like these 8 enemies that are like got a lot of health, let's say, and you'll be fighting these purple dudes who also have a lot of health, but they hit you more often. So in the end, you're just mashing the square and triangle button repeatedly, trying your best to try and mash your way through it, and then once you run out of Iterio mode, run as far as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man, until Iterio mode boosts back to max, and then boom, you can go into it again. It gets tedious. It gets very, very tedious. And I would say I was having fun until probably chapter 7, and then after that it was like, I just want the game to be over and done with. So it's not a bad game, and if you like hack and slashes, you can play this. I would say play through chapter 1, see what you feel, see how you feel with the game, see how you get on. And if you're like, it's not great, just watch the cutscenes on YouTube. You know, the cutscenes on YouTube, I think, equate to around 40 minutes, so even less than Seven Blades. So you can watch a little mini movie of Seven Samurai, and I can guarantee you, just like Seven Blades, right? Seven Samurai, you're not missing anything. Everything that literally is portrayed story-wise is via cutscene. Pretty much the gameplay is you moving from point A to point B and fighting enemies. That's all it is. There's no story or anything really within the game, within playing the actual game itself. So if you wanted to watch the story on YouTube, you could, is what I'm saying. You know, there's a few occasions, a few chapters where you can go into town, like these town areas where you can go and communicate and talk to people, which is interesting. You don't, most of the time you don't really have much to say. Apparently there is I read online, there's like a secret quest, side quests or something that opens up some secret bosses. I couldn't care less about that, so I didn't bother doing it. But I did get lost at one occasion because the game wasn't very clear on where I was supposed to go. I think it was on chapter 4. I had to get to a hideout, and I didn't know where the hideout was. And you have to backtrack all the way to where the chapter starts. I didn't realize this because I didn't realize there was another way I could go. Like when you start in that chapter, you can go straight ahead or you can go right. You talk to all of the cast of characters that are there, and they'll tell you to go right. Right? So you go right, and you go through right, and you go through the thing, you you go to the casino, blah blah blah. Right. And again, I'm not really spoiling anything because they don't mean what I'm saying doesn't really mean anything if you don't already know the story. And then after I'd been there, there was like, you have to go to this hideout, and I'm like, okay, but where is it? So because the game literally shows you these green arrows all the time to show you where you need to go, because there was no green arrows, I was like, where the hell am I supposed to go? Where's the green arrows? Why is it they've decided out of nowhere not to have any green arrows to tell me where I'm supposed to be going? So I just ended up wandering around, going in loops on occasion until I was like, okay, I'm just going to go back to the beginning of the chapter. I'm just going to go back all the way to where I started and see if there's different ways I can go there. And lo and behold, there was. So yeah, that was the only time I was annoyed at the level design. Besides that, the level design's fine. It's all pretty linear at the end of the day. But yeah, I haven't really got much else to say about the game. I don't regret playing it. It was a decent experience. I would say that the game would have been much better if it was 5 to 8 hours long, depending on your skill level, instead of the 10 to 15. And if Itario mode was the default way of combat. Could do with actually, if you're not going to have lock-on in the game and you're not going to have me be able to control the camera besides pressing the L2 button to center the camera on where Nato is looking, the main character, you could at least zoom the camera out a little bit. You know what I mean? So I could actually see what's behind me while I'm fighting. That would probably be what improvements I would say which would make this game better, at least for me. But that's 7 Samurai 20XX. I've moaned and complained about the game enough. But yeah, to be completely honest with you, it's okay. And that's the best I can really say about it. It's an okay hack and slash game. And there's nothing else besides it. It's not like leagues above being the best game, and it's not a terrible video game. It is right slab dab in the middle of decent. Not mediocre, just decent. So, and I think that's fair. I don't want to talk about the story at all, but there's a lot of characters in the story that are funny as fuck, and there's a lot of moments in the story that are funny and quite funny. The comedy's really it's quite nuanced, the comedy, but at the same time, it's pretty good in my opinion. But yeah, like I said, with 7 Samurai 20XX, if you like hack and slash games, give it a try, play through the prologue, give chapter 1 a proper go, because prologue doesn't last very long. You can get through the prologue in about 10 minutes. Play through chapter 1, which is about 20 minutes. See how you get on. If it's not your kind of jam and you're still interested in the story, the cutscenes are available on YouTube. It's about 40 minutes. Go for it. Experience the story at least. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed. That's all I'm going to say about the game. I've been Bio. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.